So it's an extremely hot day in Nairobi, guys. This climate change is accelerating because it is extremely hot. Honestly, this is not what you expect for, being in March. It's not what you expect. It's just extremely hot. There's no air. We're just absolutely boiling, But anyways, so 30-year-old Land Cruiser 80 Series. I love this thing. Been daily driving it for those of you that don't watch Masai Gains. Apologies for all the noise. It's just so noisy sometimes in this country. So I gotta keep the air condition running. So apologies if you can hear that. But I wanted to talk about some of the changes in the automotive market and what's been happening. You guys see that in about 2019 and 2020, electric vehicles were touted sort of as the future of the world, and all the governments started putting out mandates of electric vehicles, and manufacturers cannot produce combustion vehicles by the year 2030. You have to be producing like electric vehicles. And so 2019, 2020 and the pandemic really accelerated all that. But as you can see here, sitting here in 2025, there have been some huge changes that have happened. And I'm very kind of glad that the markets have woken up to the reality. So first of all, I wanted to talk about the first thing that happened, which was with the electrification of vehicles, manufacturers started to make vehicles, and everything in the interior of the vehicle started becoming screens. So big screens, huge 30-inch screens in your interiors, a lot of electrics, a lot of connectivity, almost like a fat iPhone, like you're driving a fat iPhone. That's almost where vehicles were headed. And I used to say this all the time, you go back into my videos, I was saying this even in 2020, that come on guys, come on manufacturers, like luxury is not screens, luxury is not more tech. In fact, luxury is less tech. Luxury is when you take the screens back and you bring back buttons and functionality, Vehicles were not meant to be giant phones. But anyways, manufacturers, of course, they don't listen, right? They just pump everything into their vehicles. So you saw Mercedes-Benz, especially the 2021 or the 2020 S-Class announcement, screens everywhere, as if screens were now the luxury, lighting all across the vehicle, and just insane amounts of tech. Welcome into 2025, and companies have lost billions of dollars on their electric market endeavors. Let's go through it. Ford jumped into the electric race, produced a good electric pickup truck, the F-150, the Mustang Mach-E. Not that they produced bad electric vehicles, but at what cost, guys? So Ford, just to go into their EV ambitions, they lost about $3 billion in their first year of trying to go EVs. And I think the CEO, Mr. Farley, said that they're going to only lose more. I think this year they might even lose $4 billion. Think about that, guys. $4 billion. There's a time I told you guys that Mercedes-Benz spent $1 billion to produce that W140 and the W124, that E-Class, back in 1990s. In today's day, automakers are losing things like $4 billion on just electric endeavors. So automakers are waking up to the reality that in any new technology you have early adopters. Early adopters are people who will jump into a new technology without really considering the cost, the depreciation. They just want a new technology, a new experience, and they jump into it. Well, electric vehicles, they had early adopters. Now, once those early adopters finished, is when you really start to see whether the market wants that product, whether the market wants electric vehicles. Well, it turned out, guys, that the market doesn't really want electric vehicles. Of course, with a Democrat administration like the Biden administration in the US, that allowed the world to get huge incentives on electric vehicles. Huge incentives, even in the UK, were given to buy and operate electric vehicles, even for your company. But once all these incentives were removed, that's when you really start to see if a product has its place in the market. Well, here in 2025, what we're seeing is huge declines in deliveries of Tesla, the biggest electric vehicle maker. We're seeing declining sales of electric vehicles from Audi. I think Audi announced, a 8% drop. Mercedes-Benz, I think, were on 15% drop this year. Only BMW have maintained some acceleration in their electric ambitions. So all these manufacturers are waking up to a reality that the electric vehicle market is just not there. And so all their ambitions of converting their whole lineup of combustion vehicles to electric, that's going all out the window now, guys. And you see, in companies, you can set out whatever ambitions you want. But if the products and the market doesn't take off as you seek, then you start to really hit cash flow issues. And when you hit cash flow issues, all that ambition goes out the window. Straight away, you start looking at the numbers, you start looking at what's working, and you start producing more of what's working. And that's what you're seeing in today's market. Mercedes-Benz just a week ago announced they made a huge mistake with the C63 AMG. They thought it would be a smart idea to announce a C63 AMG, I think 2 years ago, with a 4-cylinder engine. The hereditary name of a C63 AMG Mercedes-Benz, supposed to have always a V8 engine, and Mercedes-Benz put a 4-cylinder mild hybrid. No one bought it. Customers were upset, and they learned their lesson. 2 days ago they announced next year's C63 back with a V8. So I'm just, first of all, elated to see that manufacturers are waking up to the reality that a mechanical combustion engine, there's really no substitute for it. And guys, I'm not someone who's against climate change. I understand that the earth is getting hotter, but I also understand that us as humans have to live and have to have things that are affordable. Otherwise, we live in poverty. So how do electric vehicles work? It's either we save the earth, or we let people survive, or humans will simply die or you're taking more people into poverty because they can't afford vehicles. You want to remove vehicles from their lives. You want to remove freedoms from their lives because electric vehicles are expensive. Electric vehicles can't be serviced and, mechanically serviced easily the way that combustion vehicles are. And so manufacturers are quickly waking up to this reality. Tesla has huge declining sales and revenue this year, and every other manufacturer has announced that they will be adding combustion vehicles back to their lineups. And I have to say, Toyota was right. Toyota was saying this years ago. Guys, you have to remember that Toyota is miles ahead in terms of how many vehicles they produce versus the rest of the world. So when Toyota says something, we should listen. But Toyota got a lot of stick for not going or jumping into the electric vehicle race as other European manufacturers did. Guys, if you're sitting in Europe, if you're sitting in US, come here to Africa and try and operate these vehicles when we have power cuts, when we live in apartments where you cannot get sockets to plug in your appliance, your electric vehicle. It's not going to work. What is the substitute for fuel, guys? You tell me, what's the substitute for this gold liquid? This golden liquid that's literally like liquid gold that has been given to us by God. There is no substitute for the energy density in that petrol and that diesel as compared to things like electric vehicles. So there is really no substitute for the golden oil and fossil fuels. It's really, really tough. Now, the other thing I wanted to discuss, the other thing I wanted to mention is the fact that automakers have now also realized that customers don't want large screens and so much technology in their vehicles anymore. And I'm so happy for this announcement as well. And that's why I wanted to make this video today and share with you guys. Because again, Audi just announced that we've lost our way with interiors, we've lost our way with build quality. Huge announcement, coming to the realization that what have our cars become? They've just become screens on the interior and plastic on the exterior. Why? Mercedes-Benz as well, coming to a huge realization as well, that customers do not want screens. Customers are not interested in these large screens in our vehicles anymore. Screens are not luxury. I'm so happy that people are waking up to this reality. This was obvious to me, but it really takes manufacturers time, and sometimes you have to burn your toes to be able to know if something is right or wrong. So those are the two realizations, and I'm so happy to see it, because what it means, guys, is a shift in the automotive scene. Finally, some sense is creeping back into the automotive market, and soon I'm sure we're going to see subsequent models of the Mercedes E-Class, subsequent models of other vehicles are now going to cut back on the screens, give us the buttons back, give us the tactile feedback, and what vehicles are meant to be, which is freedom and an amazing driving experience, and not necessarily distractions of screens, reflections, fingerprints. That's not what this 80 series gives me, you know? Am I worried about any screens or reflections here? This is the most dull, perfect interior for me. It's not distracting, and my windscreen is my portal to the outside world where I can focus on my driving. And that's what I think vehicles were meant to give. And that's, I think, why I'm stuck in the 1990s and I drive these old vehicles, and everyone maybe wonders, Masai Gaines, why are you stuck in these old vehicles? I love them. I just love them. So, you know, I wanted to put this video out there. I wanted to share my opinion and see what you guys think, and share your opinion with me, because honestly, I'm not saying that electric vehicles are wrong. They have their place. Let them have their place in the market. But it is wrong to mandate everyone to have an electric vehicle, everyone to have to go in this direction. Let markets dictate. This is capitalism. Let the free markets dictate what customers want, what customers will buy, where customers choose to spend their money. That's their right. So, you know, forgive me if it came off as a bit like a rant. But this was today's episode. I wanted to get through this. I wanted us to get through this important bit on the shifting automotive scene, and my thoughts on it, and where we're headed. I think it's really interesting, and I think we're headed for some very interesting vehicles in the future, and of course hydrogen combustion engines, which can save the internal combustion engine. And JCB have already produced hydrogen. They've already got their hydrogen engine certified for trucks. And you know, this is all positive. This is all positive stuff. This is all good stuff. So I'm very motivated by it. I look forward to it. I think this is all very, very positive news. So anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the episode, make sure you hit like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what you thought, my 2 cents, my opinion on this particular topic. But another day in my 30-year-old Land Cruiser 80 series. I daily drive this thing. I love it. Gives me just a sense of being high off the ground, a sense of big, you know, gnarly kind of tires, and you know, just a sense of you can go anywhere. So this vehicle, it's easy for me to just hop in, get my stuff done, and it just gives me a good feeling, you know, matches my character. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. It's been Masai Gaines checking out.